And this is a big development. This is what sources are now indicating to us here at CNN News 18. This is in the backdrop of the implementation of a Uniform Civil Code, or the UCC. As per sources, Uttarakhand may now become the first state in the country to implement the Uniform Civil Code. Uttarakhand may call for a special session of her assembly next week after the festival of Diwali. Now, the Ranjana Desai-led committee may also soon submit its report to the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Pushkar Singh Dhami. Remember, this has been a big narrative as far as the BJP is concerned, despite the criticism it's received from the opposition. But now we're understanding that Uttarakhand may in fact become the first state to implement a uniform civil code in the country. And we're understanding this could happen as soon as these recommendations, in fact, and the report that is submitted to the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Pushkar Singh Dhami. So as we pointed out, post the festival of Diwali, it is a possibility that the Uttarakhand government would then call for a special session of its assembly. This could happen immediately after Diwali, which means next week. You'll already have the Ranjana Desai-led committee that will soon submit its report to the Chief Minister. And after all of that, Uttarakhand will become the first state to then implement the Uniform Civil Code. As we've been pointing out that this has been a big poll narrative as far as the BJP is concerned, despite criticism that has come in from many opposition parties who've gone on to say that once you implement something like a UCC, it essentially is against the fabric of a democracy that essentially defines India. Because the criticism that is coming from the opposition is a country like India, which has multiple religions, multiple faiths, how can you have one law for all? So essentially, this will be against minorities, is the criticism that has come in from the opposition. But the government, time and again, from various stakeholders have come out, have ascertained people that there is nothing to worry. The idea is to have one rule for all living in the country. And now we're understanding, as far as the implementation is concerned, Uttarakhand could soon become the first state to implement UCC. There will be a crucial meeting post the festival of Diwali. It's a possibility that Uttarakhand will call for a special session of its assembly also after the festival is over. After that, you'll have the Ranjana Desai-led committee that will also soon submit its report. And all of this, in fact, will be sent to the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Pushkar Singh Dhami. But as I pointed out, what really are the challenges and the criticism that has come in? Remember, time and again, as we pointed out, the opposition has said this will be against the fabric of democracy. There will also be a challenge of task of devising rules that will govern all communities. There is also a lot of misinformation. That is what the opposition has been saying, that it only targets a particular community. But first, let's bring in our colleague Payal Mehta, who in fact has been tracking these developments. Payal, as we were talking to our viewers, that time and again, every time the government has spoken about the time being ripe for a implementation of the UCC, the criticism that has come in from the opposition is that this is against the fabric of what a democracy represents. Now that we are saying that very soon Uttarakhand could become the first state to implement UCC, help us understand how soon could that happen?
What we're given to understand is that Ranjana Desai-led committee will be submitting its final report to Pushkar Singh Dhami, the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, in the next couple of days, and possibly after Diwali, which is sometime next week. There could be an announcement coming in from the state government saying that they are going to ask for a special session of the assembly to be brought in, because remember, it has to be brought into the assembly and also passed in the assembly as well. And the Uniform Civil Code may as well become a reality as far as that is concerned. Remember, there is a lot of speculation saying that the central government is also looking at bringing the Uniform Civil Code, but that's not going to be possible till, of course, it's implemented in a couple of states, and probably one has to look at the rules also. Probably if it's adopted in X number of states, then probably it becomes a central law. So all of these options are really open. But having said that, this is going to be a real test for the government here in India, the central government, because they'll actually get an idea as to how the implementation really happens, what are the teething problems, what are the legal lacunas that one has to really look at, and how this can go about in the future times, given the fact that possibly the government also knows that there are a lot of people who will go to court against this. So what is the legal recourse as far as that is concerned? So all of these things will be tested in a way. And also, very importantly, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's home state Gujarat and Amit Shah's home state Gujarat is also likely to implement this sometime before the 2024 elections, is what sources are indicating to us. But Ranjana Desai-led committee, Ranjana Desai and Pushkar Singh Dhami herself have gone ahead and met Union Home Minister Amit Shah at least on 3 occasions, including once in the last 2 months, to give him an update as to what it is happening. Because essentially that's the department of the government of India that will be responsible for implementation of the Uniform Civil Code.
So as Payal is reporting for us that Uttarakhand could soon become the first state to implement UCC, and post that you could also have states like Gujarat follow suit. But just talking about the political narrative that we've seen from the opposition, Payal, time and again, one, as I pointed out, they've said this is essentially against what a democracy represents. But speaking even as far as religious freedom is concerned, that has also been a criticism that this encroaches on religious freedom. What has been the kind of logic, rationale that has been put forth by the government to allay all these concerns?
Two or three things. The government has said that there is never a right or a wrong time to implement the right decision, and that political will is shown by the BJP on multiple occasions, taking tough decisions. They are bringing in important laws, whether it's gender parity or etc. All of these things have been there. Secondly, the government has been saying that obviously there are certain things that have to be followed. The BJP says that they will bring this bill in all its in all pomp and show. They're not going to bring this bill in the hiding, because this has been part of their commitment in terms of the manifesto, both in 2014 and 2019. But is this something which they're going to use as a poll plank in 2024? The answer certainly is no, because top sources in the government have told me, Ridhima, that they will not be bringing this Uniform Civil Code bill in 2024, ahead of the Lok Sabha election, which everybody is fearing. Remember, they had brought in the Ram Mandir issue in 2019 and then implemented it, and just before 2024 election, Ram Mandir is going to become a reality. So all of the things are there. And the Prime Minister has been saying one thing very, very simply in his election rallies also, that he's addressed in the last couple of months. He's gone ahead and said that this is an important thing to follow up for, because you cannot have different roles for different people within the own family. Two brothers cannot be following different rules within the same family. So that's the logic that is being given, that this is the time to implement these laws in totality, to make sure that there is parity in all respects. There is no gender bias. There is no bias in terms of how a particular community is treated or how a particular norm is. So that's the reason they feel that Uniform Civil Code is extremely important given the present situation and the day and the age, and of course the political will and the sheer numbers that the government really has in terms of MPs both in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and also obviously in the states where they really have in power. So that's been a part of the poll commitment.
Sure.
As far as Uttarakhand, Gujarat are also committed to doing this, and Assam is also looking at the possibilities of doing this.
Okay, Payal, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details.